Welcome to Deck Analysis and Testing. Today we have a look at Time Thief. Time Thief is a rank 4 archetype based around stealing your opponent's cards and putting them under your Xyz monsters. I know I'm a bit late making this video. I haven't even made a Literalisk video, and I don't think I'm gonna even bother making one before the ban list comes out because, you know, it's the last day of the KC Cup. But Time Thieves have been seeing competitive success in the KC Cup that's ending today. The deck isn't that good going second, but if you go first, it has a super consistent 1.5 card combo that gives you tons of interruption, including a non-target monster spin, spell trap negate, and 1 or 2 graveyard removal, plus any amount of a non-engine that you draw in your opening hand. If you draw more extenders, you can even make an extra rank 4, which can be a Rafflesia to interrupt your opponent's summons, or something like an Abyss Dweller or Evil Swarm Nightmare in the expensive version. Let's have a look at the individual cards. First is Time Thief Winder. This is our main searcher. When it's summoned, you can search a Time Thief card. Usually you're searching the counter trap. And also you can just special summon this card for free by detaching one Xyz material. Next is our second starter, Time Thief Adjuster. This card can be special summoned if you control a Time Thief, or rather if you normal or special summon a Time Thief. And also when it's summoned, you get to bin any Time Thief card to the graveyard. Usually you're binning one of your extenders, which has effects that summon themselves from the graveyard. One of them is Time Thief Bezel Ship. This card can tribute itself as a quick effect, and target a Time Thief Xyz monster you control and attach something from your opponent's graveyard to it as material. And also, if it's in the graveyard, you can detach one to special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. Next is Time Thief Chronocorder. This is the annoying butterfly that has a very annoying effect that doesn't really do too much to interrupt your opponent, but it does prevent them from going in for lethal. It has a quick effect during your opponent's battle phase to tribute itself, and the next battle damage you take will be inflicted to your opponent instead. So let's say your opponent is playing Blue Eyes, they make a really big fusion monster, your opponent's gonna take the damage instead. And if a face-up Xyz monster you control leaves the field by a card effect, including your own card effects, which you will do frequently with a Redoer's self-banish effect, you can special summon this card from the graveyard and then banish it if it leaves the field. And finally, we have the card that is searched from our skill. It is basically Rescue Rabbit. Time Thief Regulator has the effect if you control no other monsters to tribute itself to special summon 2 Time Thief monsters with different names from your deck in defense. And also, if a Xyz is destroyed by battle, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. This is going to be usually summoning a copy of Time Thief Winder and a copy of Time Thief Adjuster from your deck. Next are the spell traps. We're playing Eclipse, which is from the same box. Really good card. Floodgate Trap Hole, available from box chips. It is a target for Rafflesia. And another trap hole in a time-space trap hole. Let's have a look at the archetypal spell traps. We have 3 copies of Time Thief Startup. This card can special summon a Time Thief from your hand, and also during the main phase, banish this card from your graveyard, then target a Time Thief Xyz, attach 3 Time Thief cards with different types, 1 monster, 1 spell, and 1 trap, to it as material. This effect is not used that often, and most oftentimes it's just used to get you a free monster from your hand, or as something for your skill to reveal. Next is 2 copies of the counter trap, Time Thief Retrograde. It negates spell traps and attaches that card to your Xyz as material. Finally, we have 1 copy of Time Thief Flyback. This card can target a Time Thief Xyz monster you control, attaching Time Thief card from your hand or deck to its material. This effect is not very good, but it is most used for its graveyard effect to banish itself from the graveyard and target a Time Thief Xyz, attach something from your opponent's graveyard to it as a material. You will be usually attaching this card with the effect of the Time Thief that we have, attach it to your Redoer, and then that will give it a trap material, so it gives it a quick effect monster spin, and then once it hits the graveyard, it becomes another disruption that gets rid of something from your opponent's graveyard. Let's have a look at the extra deck. Before we look at that, we might as well talk about the skill. The skill is not that broken compared to the other skills that some other decks have in the meta. It's just basically a consistency skill that also gives you a Redoer in your extra deck. So what it does is you can reveal a Time Thief startup in your hand or a Time Thief psychic monster, and then add a Time Thief machine or Time Thief startup from your deck to your hand. And if you're going first, you need to return something from your hand back to your deck. That's where the 1.5 card combo comes from. Is the 0.5 is from the card that you have to return back to your deck. But because this combos are so strong and consistent, it's not that big of a deal anyway. And I know that I can't really show Redoer right now. I mean, I can search it right now. We can go and... I don't think it works anyway. We might as well talk about Redoer's effect real quick. So Redoer has effect to, during each standby phase, attach something from your opponent's deck to it as a material. And also, as a quick effect, you can detach any number of materials and activate the effects based on what you detached. If it's a monster, you get to banter itself until the end phase. If it's a spell, you draw one card. If it's a trap, you get to spin a monster on the field without targeting. So the main game plan is to basically attach stuff to it as material to activate its quick effect to either draw cards, banish itself, or spin monsters back to the deck by attaching something like a flyback to it. Other Time Thief monsters that we actually do have access to in our extra deck without using the skill is Time Thief Perpetua. This card is part of your end board going first. During the standby phase, you can detach one to revive a Time Thief from your graveyard. It includes GXCs. If that gets to your graveyard, this is a way to put it back up to your field. And as a quick effect, you can target one other Xyz. Doesn't have to be a Time Thief, but usually it will be the Redoer. Attach a Time Thief card to it as material. Usually you're going to target the flyback because it has a good graveyard effect, and also it's a trap. For the other rank 4s and rank 5s and rank 12s, we're playing one copy of Dark Rebellion, one Rafflesia as another card we can make going first, a copy of Vespinato to rank up, a Rhapsody and Berserk. These are all just really cheap rank 4s and stuff that we can rank on top of the rank 4s. We have one copy of Anti-Luminescent Light, Dreadnought, Magnus to rank on top of the Dreadnought, and yeah, that's basically it. Okay, let's have a look at the expensive version. I mean, you've probably seen this deck a lot of times already if you've even played any amount of KC Cup or in Ranked, or you can just, like, you know, go to Duel Links meta. Anyway, this deck is quite consistent in the expensive version because we have more copies of the Sidekick Time Thief monsters for you to reveal with your skill. We have 3 copies of Winder instead, and only playing 2 copies of Startup because this is not really that good of a starter, even though it kind of is. And we're still maintaining a pretty good ratio of starters. We have the good starters with Winder and Adjuster, and the slightly worse starters with Regulator and Startup. And we're playing better staples, we're playing more copies of Book of Eclipse, and we don't have to play the Trap Holes because we're not playing Rafflesia. We have access to a better Rafflesia in the form of Evil Swarm Nightmare. And also we have 2 copies of Lands to help us go second against our opponent's back row. For the extra deck, we're playing Abyss Dweller, as I mentioned in the intro, Exoton Knight to help us play through stuff going second, and Radius Knight and Arc Rebellion to help us OTK. Okay, let's have a look at our games. In the first game, we were going second, which is not good, but our opponent's playing Ubel, which means they probably don't have too much interruption, so we maybe would be fine. The Eclipse is not that good against Ubel because they don't really have monsters that are worth eclipsing, but it does buy us another turn if we fail to make something happen during our turn. We're gonna reveal the startup and normal summon a guy, which gets super polyed, and that literally ends our turn because we don't have any good psychics that we can summon. We don't have any of the good ones. So I guess we're just gonna Book of Eclipse him and survive another turn. And then now we do have a psychic, which gives us some more plays, even if our opponent stops us. I'm gonna summon 2 guys from deck. We're gonna activate both of their effects. We're gonna grab another Extender and send another Extender. We're gonna make a Redoer, and then use the Winder effect to summon itself back, Bezel Ship effect to summon itself from the graveyard. And then we're gonna make the Perpetua. Perpetua will attach something to it as a material. We'll attach the trap to spin back the fusion and also prevent them from using the Neo's fusion graveyard effect by attaching it to our monster. We're gonna steal something during the standby phase. He's gonna MST, that forces out our spell trap negate. That should be fine though. We're gonna use the effect again of a Perpetua to summon something from grave, and he will be scooping. Okay, let's have a look at our second game. This time we're going first. Let's see what we can do. We just need to open any of our like 10 starters. 6 of them are better, 4 of them are worse. But we do have the spell, which is a bad starter, but we do also have another extended in our hand, so we could probably still make the combo work. We're gonna tribute the mobile phone to special summon 2 Time Thieves, the 2 Psychics. One will mill the butterfly as part of our extender, and the other one will grab us the counter trap. We're gonna special summon the 3 level 4 from my hand using the spell, and then make a redoer. We're gonna banish it with its own effect, which triggers the butterfly's effect, that summons itself back and summons the Perpetua. We're gonna Bezel Ship, summon itself back as part of our end board as a disruption, and then end phase our redoer comes back and we're gonna attach something to it as material. We're gonna, during the standby phase, attach another card from opponent's deck. Opponent's playing Majesty Pegasus. That is a Magis Vector field spell. That's probably something that is worth negating. We're gonna negate that, we're gonna let him search a monster, and then we're gonna redo spin it back to the deck so he can't use the United Pendulums to scale it. And now our opponent sets 2 and scoops. Okay, let's have a look at our final game. We are going first with the expensive version. That usually just means we won on the spot, but let's see what our opponent can do under our really strong turn 1 board. And we also didn't draw any non-engine, which is frustrating, so we're just gonna end on the basic 1.5 combo with no other non-engine to back us up. But that should be fine. We're gonna make a redo again, and then we're gonna Winder, special summon itself, redo batch itself, butterfly summon itself back, and then we're gonna make Perpetua. We can't special summon the Adjuster from my hand because the 2 effects are shared harder ones per turn, so if you use the mill effect, we can't use the special summon effect. Opponent will Eclipse us, which forces out the negate. Fine, we'll do that. Redo will steal something from our opponent's deck. Let's see what we stole. We stole a Speedroid Horse Stilts. That tells us they're on Speedroids. They have Terratop in their hand, which is really good for them. They're gonna grab the target Tomball. That's probably something worth spinning back. I'm gonna use the spin and then attach something to it as well to get us a free draw. And then by attaching the Bezel Ship to it before we banish it, we can get it to the graveyard as well for next turn. Our opponent will be sending something, but we can just use the trap graveyard effect to get rid of it from our opponent's graveyard. And they pass it back to us, and they will be scooping.